Yeah, I don't think this is gonna make the cut. Man, if only there was a good game I could review, like a 1998 Dreamcast game ported to the GameCube in 2003, specifically titled Sonic Adventure. That's the game I need. Man, games like that just don't fall out of the sky anymore. Jesus. I guess this'll do. After the release of Sonic 3 in 1994, the gaming industry quickly began moving into the third dimension. By 1996, 3D gaming had become a reality, with characters like Mario and Link making the big leap into 3D, and newcomers such as Crash Bandicoot taking front stage in the battle for top platformer mascot. While the industry was rapidly evolving, however, Sega quickly began to fall behind into the dust, with the Sega Saturn failing to make an impact and several failed attempts to try and bring Sonic into 3D. 5 years went by without a true sequel to Sonic 3, and it seemed like all was lost for the Blue Hedgehog. Then suddenly, a glimmer of hope shimmered on the horizon. Sega announced what would go down in history as their final console, the Sega Dreamcast, and along with it, a brand new fully 3D Sonic game, Sonic Adventure. Now, I didn't grow up with the Dreamcast version of this game. I got the GameCube version that came out in 2003. Now, many people say this is the inferior version of the game, but well, actually, they're completely right. But I'm not going out and buying a Dreamcast for one review, so you're just going to have to suck it up. Now, as always, let's pop this baby in. Now, let's see if I remember how to use these things. No. Wait a second, I know. The old fixer-upper. There we go, good as new. The game is split between 6 different characters, each with their own intertwining story. You got your classic characters like Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, but they also threw in some curveballs like one of Eggman's robots, E102 Gamma, and wait, who the hell are you? Big the Cat? Oh no. Discussing each story on its own would take forever, so I'll just give a brief overview of everything here to save on time. The game begins with Knuckles guarding the Master Emerald on Angel Island. Well, if you spell guarding like this. Then Eggman comes by and blows the Master Emerald to shreds, unleashing this weird water god named Chaos. With every Chaos Emerald given to him, he evolves and becomes more powerful, and Eggman wants to use his perfected final form to destroy Station Square, also known as definitely not in any way New York, we promise, the city. Anyways, it's up to Sonic and Tails to try and get the 7 Chaos Emeralds before Eggman does, and it's up to Knuckles to try and find all the shards of the Master Emerald and try and restore it back to normal. Oh yeah, and the other 3 characters all just sort of mess around and get in a bunch of non-important shenanigans. Well, I guess Amy and Gamma have some substance to their stories. In fact, Gamma's story actually has a bit of an emotional punch at the end, but Big the Cat? Big the Cat? Who's Big the Cat? I've never heard of him, have you? I hate Big the Cat. Nothing to see here. If you complete every character's story, you'll unlock a mysterious final story, which gives the game an honestly pretty amazing conclusion. And you get to play as Super Sonic, so right on. In addition to each character having their own story, they also each have their own gameplay style. Sonic stages are pretty much a direct translation of the 2D games, but into 3D, and essentially boil down to just getting to the end of each stage. The levels here are far more open than a lot of the more recent Sonic games, with tons of hidden areas and power-ups tucked behind little nooks and crannies. While Sonic's moveset from the 2D game remains intact, he's also given a brand new move in the form of the homing attack. When pressing the jump button in mid-air, Sonic will do a quick dash forward, and if near an enemy or a spring, he'll home in on it. They definitely put the most effort into Sonic's story, as he by far is the most content, with a total of 10 stages to run through. To put that in perspective, every other character only gets about 3 to 5 stages. It's also the most fun to play because the other 5 characters are, well, a little bit sketchy. Tails' levels revolve around racing Sonic to the goal, which you achieve by using his flight ability. It's fun to play, but his flight powers are way too overpowered, and it kind of breaks the game. Plus the levels are all done in like under 2 minutes. Knuckles stages are treasure hunting stages, where your goal is to find 3 shards of the Master Emerald using this sort of hot and cold system. You have these 3 radars at the bottom that change color and beep faster the closer you get to an emerald shard. They're probably the second most fun stages to play in the game, but once again the levels are just over way too quick. And who needs a dumb radar to find things anyway? I couldn't imagine being that incompetent. awfully light. My Chipotle burrito! Gamma's gameplay revolves around getting to the end of each stage, but unlike Sonic's levels, his levels have a time limit on them that increases as you shoot down enemies and get points. They also all end in boss battles against another one of Eggman's robots, but once again, most of his stages just feel way too short. Amy's gameplay, on the other hand, while still revolving around getting to the end of each stage, has a giant robot chasing her throughout every level, and also includes light puzzle elements. Her controls are super slow though, especially compared to the other 4 characters so far. It's not that her top speed is bad, I mean she can get pretty close to the other 4 characters in speed, but she just takes forever to accelerate. She only has 3 levels though, so it's over pretty quick.
Now if you thought Amy's gameplay was slow, you've got another thing coming. Alright boys, let's ride.
Man, where to even begin with Big the Cat? Every other character at least makes some sense for a Sonic game, but fishing? Who asked for this? I'm gonna keep it real with you chiefs out there, I have no idea how to work these stages. You're supposed to fish for his pet Froggy or something, but I literally have no idea how to get to him. It's super buggy and hardly makes any sense. I figured it out once like 5 years ago and actually managed to beat the game, but I didn't have the patience to try and figure it out again for this review, so you're just shit out of luck. In between action stages, you have these hub worlds you run around in where you can talk to other characters, trigger cutscenes, and access levels and boss fights. They made some of these NPCs strangely complex too. Like some of these people have full-on love stories that continue throughout the game, like the burger shop lady who gains the courage to talk to her crush. You know, in a Sonic game. The boss fights in this game are pretty cool too, even the one with Big the Cat. Most of them are against Chaos in his different forms. There's also a few against Dr. Eggman himself. There's also these weird character battles that hardly even classify as boss fights. I mean, you can beat these with no effort in under 5 seconds. I don't understand what the point was, honestly. Also hidden around the hub world are these hidden upgrades that allow you to unlock new moves, like Tails' infinite tail whip attack, or the lightspeed dash for Sonic, which allows him to trailblaze across a trail of rings. There's also a Chow Garden accessible in the hub world as well, but like that's so complex that's a topic for a whole video on its own.
So yep, that's Sonic Adventure. The game is kind of glitchy and unpolished and really hasn't aged all that well, but the core gameplay is still extremely fun. I think with a remake, Sega could definitely knock this out of the ballpark. The only problem is that they're probably never going to do that and they're going to be content making mediocre Sonic games for the rest of eternity. Oh well, win some you lose some, right?